What is going on, First Descendants? Welcome to a First Descendant video. Today I'm going to tell you guys which is the best character to start off with if you're a new player, experienced player, and certain playstyles. If you like to rush, if you like to be defensive, if you like to be a support class. I'm also going to tell you guys which ones are the players and how the characters and how do you unlock them. In addition to that, I'm going to tell you guys under what category they fall. So right off the bat, if you like how that sounds and want more First Descendant content, a like would be greatly appreciated, and let me know who you're going with after you get done watching the video. So I played the beta, the alpha, I played everything, so I'm pretty well versed when it comes to these characters. But the first thing you want to know is what are you going to have access to when the game launches? When you first load up the game, you are going to be given an option to pick any of these three characters: Leek, Ajax, and Visa. We're going to break them down in just a little bit. But in addition to these three characters, you will also have access to these other characters, which is a total of 14 characters, including Leek, Ajax, and Visa. Now, in order for you guys to unlock these characters, you could do two things. You could either play the game and unlock them as you go, or you could skip that process and actually buy the character till you have access to the character and start leveling them up. I will have a video later on this week going over the tier list of which ones I believe is the best character to have and unlock if you're going to pay for a character to unlock. Speaking about that, we do have a creator code. So if you guys are going to be purchasing anything within the game, use our creator code because that not only helps us, but it also helps you to support the Bolt Nation. So with that being said, let's keep going. So in addition to these 14 characters, you also have ultimate characters, which are pretty much the same character, just with more abilities, more magna, and more pretty much better stats. Okay, and these are Ultimate Leek, Ultimate Visa, Ultimate Ajax, Ultimate Bunny, and Ultimate Glee. Now, with that being said, let's talk about what you should do if you are completely new to the game, first time touching it, and the character I recommend. Once again, when you launch the game, you'll get access to these three characters, and you're going to have to pick one. If you are completely brand new to the game and you want to make sure you're not dying, but you're learning the game as you're going, the character I'm going to recommend is Ajax. Now, Ajax is going to be your tank class. He's going to be able to absorb damage, and he's going to be able to do damage. In addition to that, he will be a very good character to have on your team because he's able to provide defense to not only himself, but also his team. In addition to that, while he's on the defensive mode, he gets a little bit of a buff when shooting from that defensive bubble. And that's why I think Ajax is perfect and ideal for anybody that's new to the game, that's trying to learn the ropes, or anybody that likes to play a tank role. This is definitely the character you should go with. The next one we have is Leek. Now, Leek is categorized under DPS. The reason he's categorized under DPS is because he does a lot of damage when it comes to his grenades and throwing a lot of projectiles. Now, I personally believe if you're a newbie to the series or you're a newbie to loot and shooters, I wouldn't recommend Leek too much because it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve on how to use him properly, because a lot of people are going to be dependent on you to provide that damage, and you're going to need to know how to place yourself in the map, how to activate your skills, and which skills to use properly. Of course, we'll have builds for you guys for each character, but just want to let you guys know, Leek would not be someone I would definitely pick if I am new to the game. It would be something that you are a little bit more experienced to these type of games. The next one is Visa, and this will fall under my buff and debuff category. I'll explain how I divide these. So Visa is a really good character, one of my personal favorites. She turns everything to ice, and when she turns things to ice, she does more damage and debuffs and buffs them. So really, really good. She has lots of really good abilities. When she runs, she freezes people, and a very good character. This character in particular, if you are brand new to the game, this is the character I wouldn't go with, just because you will, if you don't learn how to buff and debuff, it's going to take longer to kill enemies, and you will be dying a little bit more than you are with the other two characters. So this is going to be for more experienced players. And like I said, I will have a tier list. So to get a better idea, I feel like it's perfect the way they did it, where they give you three different characters. And these characters are pretty much, for me personally, are divided into three categories. You have the support class, you have the tank class, like the defensive class, and you have your buffer and debuffer, or you could categorize this as a DPS class. Now, with that being said, there are subcategories, and we're going to go into them. Now, Another support class is Jabar or Javier. The reason I like him, and I feel like he is going to be really good if you are a solo player, because he's able to pull out his turrets that are going to be serving as an additional player and take damage. Now, the turrets, at least when I played them in the alpha, the beta, they needed a little bit buff, so I'm going to see how they are when the game gets released. But overall, in general, a really good character. And definitely, this would be like the character to pick if you are going to be doing a lot of soloing. This is going to be very valuable for you guys. If he's the best one, you're just going to have to wait and find out. Then we have Sharon. Sharon is another high skilled type of character due to the fact that she is like your rush character. She's going to need to get really close to the enemy to do the majority of damage with her abilities and also her ultimate. She's a very good character, and she pretty much, uses electricity to her disposal. She's able to clone herself to get even up close, but you will be dying a lot if you're not using her properly. So she's a little bit more tricky to learn to play, and really good character in general. Then we have Glee. Glee was like the star of the beta, the alpha, just because she provided so much damage. But this is the character I would say is the hardest to master, due to the fact that in order for her to do a ton of damage, she is going to have to use, she pretty much sucks like her health to be able to, push out that damage. And you're going to be very vulnerable when your health is low. So Glee is a very good character, and that's why she's on the utility dealer. I would say ultimate dealer, at least that's what she was in the beta. But you're going to need to learn to play with her first in order to utilize her correctly. Then we have Blair. Blair is one of my personal favorite characters. He's the pyromancer of the group. He does a lot of damage over time. So basically, when people get engulfed in flames, they will be getting a ticker. Really good character, but once again, takes a little bit of a while to master. But if you are an experienced player and you've played a first-person shooters before, you've also played loot and shooters and know how to buffs and debuffs work, definitely a really good character to use. I would say like mid character as far as learning curve is concerned. Then we have Bunny. Once again, Bunny is everybody's favorite. She is an amazing character. But with that being said, you're going to need to learn to play with her to be able to do a ton of damage while you're using her. But that comes at a price, because you're going to need to get up close to the enemy in order to be able to kind of just get the benefit of her skills. And if you are not careful, you will be dying quite often. So very high learning curve. I wouldn't say super high learning curve, but a very high learning curve to do a ton of damage with her. But everybody's favorite, of course, is Bunny. Then we have Farina, which I believe, Freyna, which I believe is one of the most underrated characters of them all. She does a lot of damage over time, very similar to the pyromancer, but she does it in the form of toxicity. Now, the great thing about her is I feel like she's going to not be used quite often when it comes to the game. But I believe as the game progresses, a lot of people are going to gravitate towards her, and she's going to be one of the most, used characters in general, because she's going to be able to do a ton of damage over time. And that's going to become very beneficial as you progress in the game. Then we have one of my personal favorites, which is Vali. It might be the one I main. Vali is a constant DPS dealer, and I love the way she plays just because I like the way she synergizes. But the main reason I love playing with Vali is because I'm constantly able to use my skill over and over. And that's one thing when I play these type of games, I want to be using my skills as much as I possibly can. And Vali allows me to do that by the form of water. Every time I'm in water, I'm going to be doing a little bit more damage. I have really good mobility. I'm able to move fast. So Vali is definitely a character that I personally love to use. And it might be my main, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm a little bit divided. Then we have Kyle. I know a lot of people haven't had a chance to play Kyle. And Kyle is pretty much your berserker. I would say he's like a mix of Ajax with Jabar. He is a very tanky character. The only kind of character that actually flies. And think of this character like a crossbreed. If you ever played Destiny, this is kind of like a Titan. Really good character to use. And not only does it absorb damage, but it deals damage as well. He is going to be a little bit harder to master as opposed from Ajax, just because he's going to have to get a little bit up close to the enemy. Then we have ECMO. Now, ECMO is actually very good. He's going to be your burst DPS damager, which is very similar to what we talked about Jabar. He's going to be able to do a ton of damage, but that's going to come at the form of explosives. The only thing with him is, once again, he has to get up close to deal that damage. And that's why I feel like a lot of people are going to struggle and shy away from him just a little bit. But overall, in general, a very, very good character. Not beginner. I wouldn't recommend this for beginner. This is more for experienced players as you progress throughout the game. Then we have Enso, and Enso is going to be part of your support class. Basically, guys, if you need to clear a large area of effect, Enso's going to be your main character. He's going to be able to rain down fire. He's going to be able to do a lot of really good stuff for you guys. So make sure you keep in mind, if you want to provide that support to your team, if you don't mind not being the one that's doing like a ton of damage, but being the support class, Enso's definitely the character you want to go with. Now, last but not least, we have Juin. And her in particular, she is a support class, and she's going to be the character that everybody's going to want to have around them, because she's going to be providing that heal buff to their enemies. But the great thing is that the buff is also going to allow her to do damage as well as she's healing, which makes it really, really awesome and very powerful and very potent. And those are the 14 characters. Now, in addition to these characters, you have ultimate characters, which are pretty much the same thing right here. The only difference is that you're going to be able to see that the passive skills have a better ability and have a little bit more damage, and the stats are a lot better. Still, you're going to want to make sure you play with them as you progress. Overall, in general, I want to know who you plan on playing with. I personally might go to, play Vali, or I just might be, a little bit more like, okay, I want to be a little bit more kind of like on the danger zone, and might go Kyle. So I'm not 100% sure here, not really decided, because it's between Bunny, Valby, and Kyle at the current moment. But with that being said, who are you picking and who are you going with? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one.